It can be argued the serve is the most critical shot in tennis. It is 100% within the player's control, while other shots are largely a reaction to what the opposing player has done and could do. Over the years, there have been spectacular servers in tennis, many of them actually, but determining who should carry the laurels of the best is a challenging, if not impossible task. Stay with us as we explore some of the greatest servers tennis has seen. First up, the challenge. It would be easy to take the player who holds the record for the greatest number of aces served in his or her career and put them up on the podium as the best server. But this statistic on its own cannot present the full picture in isolation. Any player has to have a full set of skills to back up a big serve, so other statistics inevitably have to come into play. For instance, there is the number of their own service games they won, also the number of service points won, and also the number of unreturnable serves served, and of course the number of Grand Slams and other titles won. A big serve certainly doesn't necessarily make a great player, but great players often have brilliant serves. So what is needed for a dominant serve? The first element is undoubtedly power. A powerful serve can make for insane ball speeds. Players with enormous levels of power when they hit the ball seem to hit through their opponent, and they're also able to rely on their serves when they need them most. Then there's speed. The faster the serve, the more the player's opponent needs to stay on their toes. There's little time to react, so the opponent's game will increase in difficulty. Speed is not the beginning and end of a great server, but it is a key component. Spin is crucial too, especially when it is combined with speed. This can be a lethal combination. Huge amounts of top spin or the ability to carve out a high-speed slice make a great serve almost impossible to return effectively. Placement is another factor that comes into play. If the ball is directed precisely at the opponent every single time, it is extremely difficult to return. Accuracy and placement are key skills for any great server. Consistency in speed, power, spin, and accuracy is lethal. Many players serve well for a few games but then struggle with consistency. However, great servers can consistently blast devastating serves home throughout a 5-set match, and they're the ones that get written up in the history books. Camouflage is the final skill a great server requires. If a player's serve becomes predictable, it's no longer as effective. Great servers can disguise their serves and hit multiple shots from the same ball toss placement. They're also able to vary the speed, direction, and spin of the serves, and this skill also has to be in the toolkit of a great server. Now, the best servers tennis has ever seen. We're about to celebrate the best servers in the game of tennis, all through history. These players have turned the tennis serve into an art, and their statistics back up their skills. This list was not compiled in any specific order. It comprises great players and great servers, and each player deserves a spot. First, Ivo Karlovic. Karlovic was nicknamed the Serve Doctor, and for good reason. Many regard him as the greatest single server of all time. He's 6 foot 11 inches tall and holds the all-time tennis record for the most aces served in a tennis career. The count? A mind-boggling 13,653. And he achieved this in 690 matches. To put that into perspective, it tallies to an average of 20 aces for every match played, and consistent serving speeds faster than 140 miles per hour. Karlovic also held the record for the world's fastest serve, 156 miles per hour. John Isner later surpassed this. Karlovic's magic was a combination of pure speed and a high contact point. It baffled his opponents time and again. Next, John Isner. The United States has always produced fantastic servers. Of all of these, John Isner is most probably the best. In the 2016 Davis Cup, he set the record for the world's fastest serve at 157.2 miles per hour. His list of aces tick an astonishing 12,475. He's also at the top of the list of the highest percentage of first serves in play. Isner's serves had an insanely high bounce and pace, two factors that made it impossibly difficult to play. His top spin was also incredible, and this also put him at number 3 ever second serve points won. Isner consistently served in the upper 130 mile per hour range, and his power was equally consistent. Also, Roger Federer. Federer was never known for the biggest serve ever, but his placement and accuracy, as well as his variations, were insane. That combo puts him at number 3 on the list of all-time tennis court aces. Roger could fool his opponents like nobody else. His camouflage factor was incredible. The overarching majority of great servers stand between 6'4" and 6'11" in their socks. Federer is only 6'1", but his skills in serving more than made up for his lack of height. Next, Goran Ivanisevic. Goran Ivanisevic was known for being one of the greatest lefties of all time, and also one of the greatest servers. The power of his service made him famous and feared, and the extremely quick motion of his serve made it incredibly difficult to read. He often took the ball on the rise of the throw, and this gave his opponents no indication of his aim. They had preciously little time to react. As a serve and volley player, he finished points on his own terms. And Andy Roddick, also known as A-Rod. Roddick's 155-mile-per-hour serve stood at the fastest serve of all time for a few years. He had an extremely abbreviated and unorthodox serving motion, but it got him out of trouble on many occasions. Opponents often spoke about the unbelievably accurate placement and the consistency of Roddick's serving game. He was certainly at the top of his generation of players, and his all-court game supported his serve well. He was famous for forcing errors with his serve. Of course, there was Pete Sampras. No countdown of servers would be complete if it didn't feature Pete Sampras. He was one of the most iconic big servers ever to grace the court, and he was as consistent as they come. Sampras was a 14-time Grand Slam champion, and he bombed insanely accurate serves down with atomic power. His speeds often exceeded 135 miles per hour. In addition, Sampras is the inspiration for many of the great servers in today's game. He was as cool as ice on the court and had the uncanny ability to silence a crowd with his enormous serves. Then, obviously, Serena Williams. Serena's serve motion was probably one of the most classic of all time. In the women's game, she was completely dominant and consistently served at speeds greater than 120 miles per hour. Many regard her serves as the greatest ever by a female athlete in the game. She's third on the fastest ever serve board, behind Sabine Lisicki and Venus Williams. It was her consistency, backed up by one of the most aggressive all-court games ever seen in women's tennis, that took her to victory in 23 Grand Slam titles. Also, there is Sam Groth. A challenger tournament in Busan in 2012 saw Sam Groth explode onto the tennis scene. In this tournament, he hit the fastest unofficial serve. It clocked in at an astonishing 163.4 miles per hour. This grabbed the world's attention. The record wasn't official, but it displayed the promise and power of Groth. He played most of his tennis at the challenger level, interspersed with fleeting appearances on the ATP Tour. Yet he remains one of the greatest, most underrated servers in the game. Next, Nick Kyrgios. Kyrgios' high-speed arm motion is almost impossible to read, and he puts enough power behind it to consistently bomb the ball down at speeds above 140 miles per hour. He's also the master of disguise, known for hitting underarm serves to add to his unpredictability. By the time he hangs up his racket, he will undoubtedly be remembered for his service game. And lastly, Georgina Garcia Perez. Georgina Garcia Perez made it into this countdown on the back of the fastest ever serve in the women's game. She banged it in at an eye-blurring 136.7 miles per hour back at the Hungarian Ladies Open in 2018. Okay, this record is not official, but it is substantially above Lisicki's 131 mile per hour serve. So Georgina Garcia Perez deserves her spot on the countdown of the best all-time servers, and it's all about her raw pace. And finally, a few takeaways. The world's most exciting servers always seem to bring real heat and flair onto the tennis court. Their speed, power, accuracy, consistency, and bare-knuckle aggression set them apart from other players. The argument about whether great servers are born or made will rage for as long as tennis is played, but the agreement about the factors that make a great server seems solid, and we're bound to see more, and even greater servers emerge as time progresses. That's it from us and the world of tennis for now. Remember to keep your eyes peeled for upcoming uploads.